Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we have The Sandman. So for those of you just tuning in, go Google creepypasta if you've not heard of it prior. But essentially it's scary campfire stories that get copied and pasted across the internet.
And as special note, this is not the Sandman from DC Comics, the awesome Neil Gaiman run. Yeah. This is, well,
somebody's interpretation of the Sandman. I honestly don't know why they gave him the name the Sandman, but we'll get into that.
It's the Sandman.
I don't know, anyway, we'll get into it when we finish the rundown.
And this is the weird fucking part. The opening Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
Now, I would have quoted the song, Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Like, bam, right there. That would have basically fit the whole, I mean, it's a completely wrong tone, but that would actually be kind of creepier. But, like, those words literally bring have the whole fucking shtick of the story.
Yeah.
In those couple of words, and I think that would have been a more fitting quote than, some pretentious. Thank you.
We both have that. Yeah, no, like
it's pretentious
like,
Edgar Allan.
The line's like,
those who dream by day are cognizant of many things that escape those who dream only at night.
Yeah, I can kind of, after I read the story, I can kind of see where that, why they used it, but at the same time, it's not very accurate.
No.
There's some things in it that, you can kind of hint at, but doesn't really match the quote. They're just trying to be pretentious douchebags.
Yeah. Mine was just as apt, if not more so, and reaches a broader audience.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, we'll get into the rundown. So, as we said, it starts off with that Edgar Allan Poe quote, and then just goes into this guy named James putting his kid to sleep, and to bed, not killing him, and mentioning something about the Sandman, and then the next morning the kid asks about the Sandman, and it's like, what does he look like? And he's like, well, it's just a saying that it doesn't look like anything. It's like, and then little did he know that he was going to come face to face with it. And then that night he's going to check up on Daniel, I believe is the kid's name, and there's a naked guy just sitting on the end of the bed looking at him, and then he freaks out like any dad would, but then realizes as he barges into the room that it's not a naked dude, or it's not a guy, it's this horrible misshapen figure with distended legs and arms and horrible looking face. I almost thought it was the Rake, but halfway through that paragraph, I was like, am I just reading another Rake story?
Maybe you are.
Maybe. We called him the Sandman. What? So he freaks out, grabs his kid, after being horribly terrified of this thing just because of how wrong it looks, and grabs his kid and runs down the hallway hoping it doesn't follow, but
it jumps out the window. Yeah,
it doesn't follow them. It stop motion animation style runs over to or crawls over to the window and jumps out. So they call the cops. They doesn't know how to tell the cops what they saw, and what's more, the kid is not collaborating the same story. He's just saying it's a normal burglar with a mask, and then it's leading James to well, was it a guy in a mask? No, it had to be a costume or something like that. It's he's conflicting, and so ultimately he lies to the cops of what he saw, just cooperating with what his son saw. Brings it to the doctors. The doctors say that Daniel is fine. There's no signs of molestation. And they try to go on with their lives. They set up a security system, put bars on every window, really kind of overdoing the Homeland Security, or home security, I think. But then again, I've never had somebody break into my house, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now picture your reaction to this event, but instead of Daniel, a child.
My niece?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
I understand why, but it's at the same time, it's just like, damn.
I hear you on both accounts, because, it would be I would overreact, but at the same time, I'd also probably be a sane and rational human being.
Which is not what we get in the story. At all.
Do we ever get sane and rational?
I think it's like Lovecraft characters. Like, we never really fully get like the smart or like intelligent professors that would just have
smart.
Yeah, that would have just been like nope the whole thing, and they just like leave the facility. It's like horror movies. We just never get those characters that are just like, you know what? Let's take a step for a second and let's analyze the situation in a logical, calm fashion.
Here's the thing, though. This is one of the things that, as a kid, I used to fucking qualify why. Just explain why shit happens in movies and shit. Because if people wrote stories about sane and logical people, there wouldn't be a story.
Yeah, because sane and logical people would
do the sane and logical thing.
Yeah,
and get the fuck out.
Exactly, and they just leave. So.
Like me.
Yeah.
If I wanted to do the sane and logical thing, I'd just leave.
Yeah. Exactly. And yet you haven't for 55, 56 episodes. Think about
My
that,
God,
Doctor.
I'm a creepypasta character.
No.
I'd like to think I'm better written, though.
Getting back to the story, as much as we hate it, setting up security, and he still doesn't feel safe. And then after a bit, he notices that Daniel stops.
Daniel stops talking.
Yeah, and at first he doesn't really quite notice it, but then he tries to ask him questions, and realizes he won't answer them or can't answer them. So back to the hospital. Literally just said, so back to the doctors. And they say that there's nothing physically wrong with him. Maybe it's something to do with this trauma or the shock of what happened. So he now has a mute child.
Time release trauma.
Yeah, exactly. So now he has a mute child. And so again, he's just weeks go by and he doesn't really go out much. He just kind of doesn't feel safe in his house, but he's just always feeling there's he hears skittering or weird sounds or envisions weird misshapen figures in his home and stuff. It just feels like the guy's going nuts, going paranoid and crazy. And he realizes this after a couple of weeks that he hasn't gone out and done anything, and he hasn't even really talked to anybody because his child's been mute for the last couple of weeks. So he calls his mom up and starts talking to her, and they have a little bit of banter, and then he realizes there's there's somebody else breathing on the line. So he asks his mom, "It's is there anybody else on your end, on the other line?" It's "No, I'm on a cell phone. That's why the reception's so bad." And so he drops the phone and just runs to all the other phones in the house, and there's nothing there. But it could have been there. It could have just been there and then left. So he gets all paranoid, and he rips out all the phone cords for all the phones except for the one, and plasters them with rubber cement. And again, just more descending into this paranoid madness. And all the while, the only comfort he has is his son Daniel, who just super comforts him, and in fact, to the point where when he leaves the room, James starts crying. So one night, in the middle of the dead of night, he's just stalking around his own house, looking for the thing, because he knows it's somewhere in the house. And because during the day he's getting these weird nightmarish feelings, and at night it's the same thing. So it's what's the difference between night and day? Might as well do it on its own. Might as well confront this thing on its own terms. Goes into this closet.
Which is the worst thought process to have. If you're going to confront something, you do it on your terms, not their terms. You know what I mean?
No, I understand. At the same time, it's also kind of how knights used to go into caves to fight off dragons on their own terms. But it's but that in modern times that you don't do that.
Well, and anyone with
you want an advantage as much as
possible. Exactly. So Also, you know, knights didn't go into caves to fight dragons because dragons weren't real.
I mean, in fairy tales. And that's what kind of this feels like. It doesn't feel very real, like what the character is, like how the character's reacting, except for the fact that he's reacting like a crazy person. Which I guess that comes across, that if that was the narrator's intent, good job.
Well, he is a crazy person.
Yeah. So, goes into this like closet-sized room, and because he figures like it's a bare room, it's never been really done up. This is the room I like the least, so it must be here. Exactly, yeah. And like he goes in, and we get some nice like kind of creepy atmosphere, or like creepy again, like inner monologue descent into madness thing. I was like, well, maybe it's been on the ceiling the whole time because the light's been flickering. That's the thing. It's right above me right now. If I turn around, it's going to be right there. Oh God! And he turns around, and it's not there. I was like, ah. So he then hears. He's going through the rest of the house, and he hears, or goes to Daniel's room, and rather than check in, he like puts his ear to the door, and he doesn't hear any like scuttling or anything like that, but he hears Daniel talking to somebody. So he like just kicks down the door practically, and Daniel's already awake, up on his bed, but there's nobody else there. And then there's a creak in the closet, so he goes checks the closet. Checks through it. There's nothing there that shouldn't be there. He just kind of like he like almost completely utterly loses it, but like calms down and just sits down on the bed with Daniel, and then starts like hugging him and stuff, and then realizes Daniel has no ears. And it's not that they've been cut off or eaten, they've been or bitten off or anything like that. It's just that they're like blank, like they never were there. So that kind of freaks him out. He goes, grabs him, rushes him out to the hallway, and that's where he confronts the haunting figure from before. It's there finally, and it talks to him in Daniel's voice. And we get a bit of an explanation about what has been going on. Apparently, James made a deal with this thing to give him something he wanted, and what he wanted was a son. So the thing made Daniel out of himself and made up memories and stuff to help fill in the gaps and stuff, and then remove the memories of the whole transaction. Apparently, it was this weird like kind of deal with the devil, like, or Lovecraftian horror thing where like the thing could control like memory or reality somehow. And Daniel, but the thing wanted Daniel back because it was a temporary thing. It was never going to be permanent. Like Daniel was never going to grow up, and like he's taking in back the parts that is missing. So, well, I mean, if you lent me your arm, you'd eventually want it back, right? Well, yeah. So, kind of makes sense. Yeah. But, I mean, if you lent me your arm, wouldn't you let me remember that you lent me your arm? Exactly, right? Like, rather than giving you amnesia about it, it's like, oh yeah, I've always had this arm. This is my arm. I don't want you to have I get to clap and scratch my ass at the same time. Yeah, so, and it kind of becomes really sad at this point, because it's like, oh, everybody's going to forget about Daniel, even you at some point will forget about him, or like, well, it'll be really hard for you to remember him. And again, it just gets this really sad thing where like Daniel just fades away essentially, and this thing is made whole again. And then it cuts to James and this woman that he met, the pianist. It is part of the banter between his mom and him. They haven't been able to have a child. She really wants one, but she's not able to have one, and she fears that James would leave her if she can't. And she starts thinking about these like she'd give anything to do it, but then that terrifies her for some strange reason, and then that's kind of the end of the story, because it seems like the cycle's going to start up again, where like the thing's going to come to her now or something. Is what I got off of that. Yeah, that's what they're definitely implying. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing about this story I have to say is that reading it, I was a little refreshed by the way they went about telling this type of story. Is that I've seen a lot of horror movies and a lot of like stories where like the supernatural stuff ends up ultimately being that the guy was crazy the whole time, or like they go to a haunted like asylum and it turns out it wasn't actually haunted at all. It was just him being a patient there. This one I feel was like a reverse of that. And I actually liked the way that was reversed. Was that like the whole story up until the end? He was a patient, but turned out that was crazy. Yeah. Whatever. Well, like the end of this, like the beginning of the story, like all up until the big confrontation with the thing. I was feeling like this was very much like, oh, well, he's obviously, like, this is going to turn out that
he's a mental patient.
Exactly, he's a mental patient. Like, that's why they keep dropping hints like, oh, he worked at a hospital, or he had, like, this and that. Like, there were little hints in the writing at the beginning, like, of that I picked up on. I was like, oh, this is going to lead to him being a mental patient, or there's something wrong with him mentally. And then we didn't get that. We got the supernatural part, and I was like, oh... It didn't make it any better, but it was a refreshing feeling.
Yeah.
Like, the story isn't very good. Like, it's mediocre to me anyway. It's some, like, it doesn't end creepily. It ends more on a sad note, like a very
and that's where it ends is where I really have any problem with this. Because with the whole shit with Abigail, that should have just been cut.
Abigail, you're right, the nurse. Or the pianist one.
I don't know if it says what her profession is, but regardless.
Yeah.
It's... Yeah. That whole bit just shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
In my opinion. It's like... I mean, Abigail is completely out of the fucking blue.
No, it's really like... I mean, again, she's mentioned offhandedly.
I don't think she is.
She's met... The girl that he met... I was pretty sure... Really?
I don't think it's the same one.
Okay.
This is like a year after the events where Daniel, like, stopped existing.
Right. I think I just, again, like, I read through it and, like...
They mentioned a girl. This must be the girl.
I don't know. I just thought they might be, like, pulling that back forward. I don't know.
Oh, God, no. You give these people far too much credit. Like, because, yeah, it just really... It sets... Basically, it's like sequel bait.
Yeah. Like, and the cycle is going to continue, and, like,
I hate sequel bait. I would rather something just finish on a strong note
than
leave off this fucking trailing bit of, like, hey, if this is popular, I'll do another one, and it'll be just the same, but shittier, because you already know everything. Just pisses me off.
Yeah.
I have no patience for sequel bait, and I have no... It also makes the events that James went through, and that, you know, the existence of Daniel, it makes it less special.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ, this just happens at the drop of a fucking hat?
Yeah, this thing just goes to people that want children, and it pulls a part of itself out to make a child, and then takes it away. Like, first off, that's fucked up.
Well, yeah, but that's also, I mean...
The part of horror, I guess. Yeah.
Well, that's...
Actually,
it's the logic of something that we can't understand.
Yeah.
Theoretically. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to accept that something would do that because I can't think like it.
Yeah, exactly. It's an alien
presence. But what I can't accept is that it does it more than, like, you know, at the very most, infrequently.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I just can't accept that it's going to, you know, craft a child out of its parts and give it to someone. Like, what? Does he have, like, 18,000 children out there at a time?
Yeah. Like, is it like a multiple, like, or does he do this, like, one at a time? Like, he does this for a couple of months, and then he's like, well, I'm taking them back now.
No, he does it for, you know, years.
Was it years, though, or was it just, adding in memories?
I thought it was years. No, because he didn't know who, he wasn't adding in memories because... Asshat didn't know who the kid's father or mother was.
Right, yeah. He couldn't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, because he'd never known, but it was something that he just never thought about.
Yeah, because he had what he wanted.
Exactly.
The son.
And I think it was like a year for Daniel. But regardless,
it's a weird, like, process this thing goes through.
Are you telling me that it, like, always does it, though? It's just fucked up.
Yeah.
And... with the whole Abigail thing, I just can't fucking buy it.
Yeah, you can't tell. Like, you can't buy that this would be some kind of, like, cycle or some kind of...
I've suspended my disbelief as, like, you know, willingly up until this point, and at that point, I'm just like, nope. And then when I'm not willing to believe that, I'm not willing to accept the rest of the story.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, the story wasn't strong enough for that type of ending, or that kind of, like, cycle goes on kind of thing.
Well, it was pushed too far. And for no reason. Like, it literally felt tacked on to, I don't know, make it special. And all it did was, it made it special garbage. Like, I didn't care for that bit, and that really just kind of ruined the whole story. Because up until then, I was actually really kind of digging it. I was definitely getting the same feeling, the same vibe as I got when I was a kid and I was reading Stephen King's short story. I think it was Boogeyman.
Okay.
And it was just like, I was in that same vibe, and I was really digging it. Like, I genuinely was liking the story, and I actually still like all of the rest of that.
The descent into... Yeah.
It definitely fucking dragged on for a little bit. It could have been, like, chopped here and there, but I understand why it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, like, I wanted it to be shorter, but it fucking wasn't, and that's just the way it was. But it definitely had a really cool vibe, and the ending kind of taking that left-hand turn at Albuquerque and just going like, yep, this is fucking real. This is happening.
Yeah.
Deal with it. I dug that. And then the Abigail shit.
Yeah, again, did you, near the beginning and stuff, you thought it was like, the guy was just going nuts?
No, I was just along for the ride.
Okay.
I don't try and guess the ending as I'm starting.
Yeah.
Because that's just boring. Sometimes I figure it out anyway, but, no, I was going along with, for it. Because, like, I just assumed that, what he saw was what he really saw, and, you know... it was going to be back, and I didn't know how it was going to be fucking with him. I didn't know... Yeah, I actually genuinely enjoyed the whole ride of not knowing, because, well, that was kind of fun.
Yeah. Also, what was with, like, why is it called Sandman? Like, is it... Because
it's Sandman. He brought him a dream. Bum, 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 bum.
Okay, I can see that now. It just, like, I was, like, thinking, it's, like, the only reason this thing would be, like, I could deem this thing to be called Sandman was because it comes in at night when people are sleeping and stuff. But, like, I don't know, it just didn't really seem like there was much of a connection for that name, for this creature.
Really? Because his son is literally a fucking dream.
No, and now when you mentioned, like, the Give Me a Dream, I was like, okay, there we go. Again, helping your opinion to that, the quote at the beginning should not have been Edgar Allan Poe's quote, but should have been just the lyrics to that song.
Well, yeah.
It would have also been a really big hint for what was going on in the story, but... Like, the monster as itself, like, again, like, first impressions, I thought it was the Rake again. And then, like, as it went on, I was like, oh, God, so it's... I did like the idea of it being kind of like this morbid, creepy, twisted, like, genie thing that, like, granted you a wish, your biggest desire, and then ripped it away from you after all the while.
Yeah, but that was part of the deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was up front.
But you don't know that. I don't remember that anymore because you asked me not to remove it from you. I think I remember like saying like you asked. No, okay. I'm just maybe filling in holes then. Sorry.
Yeah, you like to just randomly add shit to shit. That's something that I've really noticed about you sometimes. And sometimes you add shit to bad pastas and you think they're great.
Fair enough.
Makes me a little jealous sometimes.
I wish I had your... Maybe not. But yeah, I don't know. I really can't recommend it as a good pasta. So there's cool ideas, like many of our stories that we read and listen to and stuff. But I don't know. It just really wasn't that good to me.
See, for me, I actually do recommend it. I just, as soon as Abigail comes up, just fucking stop reading. Because it's unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary, but the feeling that, like, just the vibe I get from this, and that's really the best word I have to describe it, is just very, I would say unique, but it's the same vibe I got from the Stephen King short story Boogeyman. Mm-hmm. And those are the only two times I've had that vibe while reading anything, and that right there, that alone makes me say there's something special here, and it should be read. It was a fun little, I mean, it wasn't this isn't the best thing I've ever read. By far, is it the best thing I've ever read? But it's adequately written. I mean, it's mechanically sound, so it's not like it's offensive there or anything. And yeah, that vibe, and just don't read the sequel bait because it's a fucking creepypasta. It's not like they need funding for a fucking sequel.
Because the guy can just, produce one later.
Write another one at his whim.
Yeah.
But yeah, I recommend it just because it not because it's overly great or overly
but there's something special in that you found.
Yeah. I don't know, it left me with a feeling, and anything that can make me not feel, because that's not what it did. It didn't...
You got maybe a nostalgic vibe?
No, not even that. Not even that. No. Okay. It gave me the same feeling as that story. Not, made me reminisce.
Okay.
I was just like,
You were in that zone again. That same zone that when you were a kid reading that.
No.
Okay.
You're making it sound like nostalgia, and it's not. It's nothing like nostalgia. It's the exact same feeling, and I'm not nostalgic about that feeling because it was actually a little unnerving. But
okay, fair enough.
It's a weird sensation, and this story gave me the same weird sensation. There we go.
Okay. All right. I did also give it a listen on Creepypasta Junior's channel on YouTube. There's also a lot of other readings of this one. So, honestly, if you just type in the Sandman Creepypasta on YouTube, you'll find a good handful of them. Like, I think you can buy that Chilling Tales to Tell in the Dark one that we had, that I mentioned a couple of episodes ago. So, yeah, you can go check those out. You can go read it on creepypasta.wiki.
Or if you've got a shit ton of time, read Neil Gaiman's run on Sandman. Because that is cool fucking just fun.
I actually got the first volume of that not too long ago. But anyway. Yeah, that's our episode for this one. So if you liked what you heard or have something to say to us about it, leave us a comment in the comment section below wherever it gets posted, whether it be on Kiwi6, Tumblr, Facebook, YouTube. We're on iTunes, so send us a review. That would be awesome of you. And if you would like to support the podcast, donate. There's a donate button on the Tumblr site at crazonstudios.tumblr.com. And yeah, that's... and you can also send us an email at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. Where you can also send us other suggestions for creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. This one was actually suggested to us probably a couple of weeks ago. So we do tend to get through our little backlog. So, until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.
So I did like it? Are you implying that I'm gay? Are you fighting back?
That's post-credit audio right there.
Are you fighting back? I love it.
Awesome. 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 Awesome.